What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video I'm going to be talking obviously about the Spotlight Sims, because what else is there to talk about today? We're going to be going over these cards. We've already gone over just a brief go over of their stats. I have them listed from 30 to 1. I have them ranked all the way. So basically, we will make another video ranking these cards from worst to best, and that will be at roughly around, the time when these cards do come out. And we're going to be talking in this video about which one you should do first. So which cards you guys should do first, because there are multiple things to consider. Whether you're going for the final card, which is Bill Russell, whether you're just going, for example, for Jimmy Butler, Dame, or Worthy, whether that's your goal, whether you have a God Squad team and none of the opals matter, or if you just want to get a couple of cards to start your team. So basically, one thing that really doesn't matter is if you're going for Bill Russell, what order you do it in. Because you're going for Bill Russell, you're getting him anyway. But if you are going for these specific cards, in terms of Dame, Worthy, and Jimmy, unless you're the biggest Dame fan in the world, I would advise you that Dame is probably not the guy to go for. Like, Jimmy's better and Worthy's are just way better. The two of those guys are just a lot better cards. They're just way better cards in game than Dame. Dame's okay, like it's the best Dame we have so far, but I would definitely say not to go for that. But then we're talking about the best set overall. If you only have time to do one of these sets. So you got to take into account whoever the top card is, as well as the set. Okay, so the Spotlight Sim Worthy collection. You've got Dave Cowens, who's really solid. Cooper, really solid. Laimbeer is not good. I will say it, Laimbeer is not good. Rodman is not good at all. So you've got two duds in this set. Amare is okay. But Jamal, Crawford, and Manu Ginobili, they can be your 2-point guards for most of the year, and you're fine. Like, you could use those two as your point guard the rest of the year, and you are going to be completely fine. You've got Steve Francis, who's really not great. To be fair, you're going to be using the other two as point guards, so that doesn't matter. Hal Greer is actually a really solid player if you're on current gen. He's a lot like Juan Carlos Navarro. And Bam Adebayo is probably the best power forward, one of the best power forwards you can get. Probably the best center in this set, considering there's not that many great centers. So for these cards right here, for James Worthy, you've got James Worthy, who's probably the best of all three of these. You've got Manu, who's probably the best of all the individual cards. And then you have got Bam, who's really good. You got Crawford, who's also, I rated quite highly in my top 30. And Cowens, who's around the middle. Cooper, it's usable. You have a few duds, though. You do have a few duds. So it all depends on what you really need. Then for Dame, you've got Rafer, Alston, who's not great. You've got Xavier, McDaniel, who's okay. Chaney's okay, but not great. Hughes is like a worse version of Jamal Crawford. Oden is the biggest. He's better than Jermaine O'Neal, but I still don't rate him. Tyreek Evans is if you're on next gen, Tyreek Evans might be better than Manu. Tyreek Evans is really good on next gen. Cliff Hagan, I don't rate him. Glenn Robinson's decent. Carmelo's decent. Jason Terry's not great. So with Dame, you've got you got Tyreek. You got Tyreek, who's brilliant, who's absolutely brilliant. And then other than that, there's none that I would be, apart from maybe Glenn, that I would go out of my way to go and get. There are some very solid cards in here, but there's none that I would be unbelievably excited about except for Tyreek. And then there's Dame as well, which is not a great one. And Stephon Marbury. So not Stephon Marbury. Jimmy Butler says Stephon Marbury's not great. Aaron Gordon's okay. Release is iffy. Steven Jackson's really good. You need Showtime on him, though, if you're on current gen. He's really good for that. Jermaine O'Neal's not great. David West is very solid. David West is kind of comparable to Bam. Chris Morris is good. He's a 6'8" 2-guard. He can't curry, but he's basically like a 6'8" version, right-handed, just better overall version of Mo Peterson. Can't curry, but he's actually very solid, especially if you're on current gen. Conley's not great. Michael Adams, Conley's 6'1" point guard. Michael Adams is a 5'10" point guard. Corey Maggetti's not great, and Eddie Johnson is a next gen. Eddie Johnson is Sadiq Bey. He's a next gen demon. That is literally it for Eddie Johnson. So, and then you got Jimmy in there. The one thing about this set here is that you don't get a point guard, really. You also don't really... Like, you get Jermaine O'Neal as a center. So, like... As good as Jimmy is, this would be probably the set I avoid. Because... On the way to getting Jimmy Butler, you get Steven Jackson, you get Chris Morris. So you get two really, really good players in Jimmy Butler's position before getting Jimmy Butler. So it's a waste of one of those cards. And, like, I'm looking at the good cards in this set. And Eddie Johnson. All the good cards in this set right here all play the same position as Jimmy. So you're basically just wasting all them because Jimmy's better. You're going to be using Jimmy instead of them. So it's it's a waste. As good as Eddie Johnson and those guys are, it's kind of a waste going for this. For this set right here, you've got Tyreek and you got... I mean, you got some decent enough players. So, like, it's an obvious one. You got James Worthy. Because the best players in the James Worthy set are point guards. And a center. James Worthy's not only the best of all the cards, he is the best in terms of the cards in his set are the best. So, if you're looking to just do one set and get off, do the Worthy set. So, last up, we got 5 cards that you guys should go for first. And we're going to talk... I'm going to say maybe... Will I go one per position? I'm not sure. So, first of all, Manu. First player you should go for is Manu Ginobili. If you guys don't know about why you should go for Manu Ginobili, you can see right here. Manu Ginobili is an Exum-based point guard. He's basically like Luka Doncic, but he's an inch smaller, but he's just better at almost everything. He's Exum based on very quick, which is unbelievable. 95 3-ball, 85 dunk, 96 lateral quickness. He's like a more up-to-date version of that Luka Doncic. Manu Ginobili, for me, is he's the number 1 card to go for first. And he also is in that set for James Worthy, which is a huge thing. Next player that I would grind for is this guy right here. I would go, if you're only doing individual, again, this is if you're doing individual ones and you are not looking to get one of the higher rewards. I would go to this set right here and get Steven Jackson. If he had Showtime, Hall of Fame, you could argue this card's as good as Jimmy. You could argue that this card is as good as Jimmy right here. 94 speed, 94 acceleration, 92 3-ball, 92 lateral quickness, 95 driving dunk, half quick first step, gold handles for days. He's also got like half clamps. And the big thing is that he has got Rudy based on very quick, Pro 2, and the Pro A crossover, which is very, very solid. Steven Jackson doesn't have Showtime, but if you can manage to put gold... Like, Showtime's going to go to the moon if you have any of those badges. But he's still absolutely, absolutely quality. He is a quality card. So, he was probably the next one that I would grind for. Then, if you're looking for a big man, it all depends on what gen you are on. It really does. There are a couple of decent options to use, but if you are on current gen and you are looking for a center, it's going to be Greg Oden. It is going to be Greg Oden. As much as I'm not a fan, he's not a card that I would use on next gen. But look, there's both gens. If you're on current gen, you've got a big body. He doesn't have hot zones, but again, he may be able to hit a shot. You've got a really fast, big body center. He's going to dunk on people. His release isn't horrendous. And he's got goal range extender and 15 defensive badges. So he's an absolutely solid center to use, especially because there's not that many great big men here. And the reason why I have to put Greg Oden a little bit higher, especially if you're on current gen, is because he is that big man. If you want to use a smaller big man though, if you want to use a smaller big man, Bam Adebayo is the way. Either Bam or David West. I would personally go with Bam, but for some people I understand why you go with David West. So like, they're both 6'9". They both weigh over 240 pounds. David West has got Pro 3, but he's got a better jump shot. David West has got a better jump shot on current gen. And David West has got half blinders. Whereas Bam doesn't have half blinders, but Bam has one of the best releases in the game on next gen. So again, this is preference. Like, Bam can curry, so I'm probably going to use Bam ahead of him. Because again, I play on next gen where it's more important. Bam can curry on next gen. Neither can curry on current gen. But yeah, like, I think Bam is that little bit better, but these two cards are very similar. If you want, it's preference. It is preference between David West and Bam Adebayo. So like, if you're going for a big, I would go for one of them. Then if you're on next gen, because I talked about current gen with Greg Oden, Tyreek Evans. Half range, half show, half blinders. All the key half defensive badges. He's got 88 3 ball, but he's got the Kobe release on very quick, which is really good. Pro 2, Pro 3 behind the back, Pro 8 crossover. Again, the best possible SIGs. His movement is going to be nice. His release is going to be nice. He's a 6'6" point guard with a 6'11" wingspan, so he's got even more length. Like, him and Manu are going to be probably my 2 point guards on next gen anyway. They are both incredible cards. So that's what I would go for again if you're on next gen. So again, I would probably go Manu first. I would probably go Steven Jackson second, because we're already getting 2 point guards straight away. Unless you want to use Tyreek Evans at the 2, and you can definitely use Tyreek Evans at the 2. Actually, screw it. If you're on current gen, I go Steven Jackson second. If you're on next gen, I go Tyreek Evans second. Then third, if you're on current gen, I would go for Greg Oden. If you're on next gen, I would go for one of the David West or Bam Adebayo. And then as the fifth, as the last player that I would go for, I'm looking at these, and it's a personal preference. Whichever player you want to have more fun with. Because, like, it's a close one between, like, if you want a long power forward, go for McDaniels. If you want to just cook with a point guard, go for Crawford. If you want a lockdown defender at the 2, go for Chris Morris or Cooper. If you want some length at 2, go for Morris. If you want a elite point guard, if you want a base 98 point guard, go for Hal Greer. If you want a chicken man, go for Glenn Robinson. And if you want a defensive center / power forward who can run the floor a bit, go for Dave Cowens. It really is all preference for that last one. I do think that the best thing to get is you should always get a point guard, a big, and a wing. Like, your first 3 should always be a point guard, a big, and a wing. No matter what. And then after that, it is just really preference. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That is the video. These are what order I would do some of the cards in, and what way you should probably look at going about doing Spotlight Sims. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.